Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. I hope everybody is well. I'm knackered. It's been a long week. I've been editing. Apart from the first half of the week, the second half of the week, it's been me editing stuff for work. I had a 90-minute show. I've got 2 of these to do, and I've been trying to edit these things together, and it's just been like, arduous to say the least. However, it is the weekend. I have some black sheep, which is very good. Tasty, tasty, tasty. Ah, dear, oh dear. Tonight we're watching Cruel Jaws. You can thank Richard for that one. He has a knack for finding some terrible, terrible movies, but at least it isn't Calamity of Snakes. So, good evening, Adam. Good evening, everybody that's there. Hey, Simon is in the building as well. On the positive side, I will, by the end of the weekend, all things being well, have the next review actually finished at long last. It has been a question of time and energy and all of that kind of stuff, but we'll have the third part and final part of the Exorcist sequels retrospective done. It is all written, it is all recorded. I have literally about 10 minutes, maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes to actually edit together. So I should be able to get that done by the end of Sunday. I have plans for tomorrow, otherwise it'd be done tomorrow. At long last that will be up, the 9th configuration review, and I'll be glad to get it done. It's been an interesting one in some respects, but also a little arduous. It's one of those which is very difficult for me to it's difficult to write about in some respects. I don't know why. There's plenty to say about it, but it's a film that has a certain sort of chaos built into it, which makes it quite difficult to sort of pin down. And my opinion on the film has changed slightly during the reviewing process. It's actually one of the things I kind of enjoy about doing all of that sort of stuff is it forces me to think a lot more closely about these particular films. And of the 3 films that we've looked at, it is... what I can say is probably it's the closest to being a full-on religious apologetics movie. Although a very, very, very good one. This is not in the Kirk Cameron kind of vein of just sort of bullshit. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of the arguments. A lot of the arguments are actually, I mean, for the time they might have felt a bit fresh, but in the internet days and all that kind of stuff, it is one of those things. You sort of look at these things and you kind of you see a lot of these arguments pop up, and they're not exactly very, very difficult to shoot down. However, what I would give to it is a very, very sincere and very earnest movie. It's a very emotional movie, and by virtue of that, it really does kind of manage to carry itself at least as a sort of peek behind the eyes of a believer. So you got to give it kudos for that. So yeah, don't get you started on Kirk Cameron. He is quite a piece of work, that guy. He really is. Him and Ray Comfort and Ken Ham and a variety of them. They're an amusing bunch, to say the least. To say the least. Oh, that's the other one now. Eric Hovind, because you've got Kent Hovind as well. Kent Hovind's a complete monster. Eric Hovind, I think, he says a lot of the same arguments and all that kind of stuff, but I don't hold as much malice towards him as I do his dad. His dad is frankly a piece of shit. But there you go. Really looking forward to your 9th configuration review, Glenn. Thanks very much for reviewing it. And I do apologise for it taking so long. It's been one of those things. It's been a little difficult just to find the time and the energy and the focus, really, over the last few weeks to do that. And it's going to be the same for a little while, because there's a lot of potential disruption going on in my life at the moment. So figuring kind of trying to get your head sort of into that kind of stuff. But hopefully, all being well, within the next 6 months or so, things will be able to kind of I'll be able to kind of find my feet again properly. Personal life stuff is always such a pain in the ass. It is a funny thing, people go, "Oh, it's so easy to do what you do," and it kind of criticising the critic kind of thing, which is fine. But when somebody kind of looks at what you do and you sort of go, "Oh, it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to do that." All you do is you kind of you cut and put all these things into order, and it's like, how long can that take? And it's like, well, you give it a go if you want to find out how much energy it takes. And it's like, I'm not bitter about any of that, because it is just one of those things. People don't quite appreciate how much time and effort it takes to get into these things, especially when you watch a film like 3 or 4 times to do a review. That in its own right takes time and dedication to actually get into. This weekend, though, I will, as soon as I've done the... if I can do it, I'll do it tomorrow morning if I can, to finish off the ninth configuration. But straight after that, I'll be working on the 5th DVD extra. I'll get the writing done on that. I've got to figure out if I can get a few people involved in just because Josh, and although I might sort of send him off for doing another project or something like that. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. It's just, like I say, that takes organisation, and ain't nobody got time for that, have they? Man, I prefer Jess Franco film featuring bananas. What? I missed the point of that, I think. I prefer Jess Franco films a lot of the time. There's so many of those just come out on DVD and stuff like that, and Blu-ray. Seems to be a resurgence in all of that interest in his works. Maybe I've got a little bit to do with that. There's me and a handful of others who kind of really sort of started expressing interest in Jess Franco's work. So yeah. Have I ever done a full-on official audio commentary for a film? Yeah, I did one with Josh on Mikey, the film Mikey, which is sat at their Excess Entertainment. I wasn't very good on it, I don't think. Josh is very opinionated, and for whatever reason, I wasn't standing up for myself enough. However, it was the first time I'd done that, so I'm not too harsh on myself when it comes to that kind of stuff. But interesting little film, Mikey. In some respects, it's also incredibly derivative. There was one point I sort of made on that where it was kind of. Josh is like, well, it's not. There's nothing original about it. I says, I'd said it was actually, there's some unusual things in it. He was like, no, there isn't. I was like, kind of, you think, kind of thing. But I didn't. I should have pushed back. Josh is a very opinionated guy, and it can sometimes be quite something to sort of push up against him, but with like Lost in the Static and Radio Drum, I was very happy to kind of butt heads with him on many occasions. We have that kind of relationship where it doesn't matter if we agree with each other. It can be very difficult to change his mind, though. Mike is still officially banned in the UK, right? Yes, I believe it is, but I don't think it's been resubmitted. Originally, it got banned by the BBFC because they were literally about to give it a certificate. And it said to the distributors, right, okay, once you've done your packaging and had that reviewed, yada, 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 by the VPRC, I think it is, then we'll kind of give you the certificate. And that process took too long. In the meantime, over the... I think it was over the New Year. James Bolger was killed, and then they looked at Mikey again and kind of went, "Yeah, we can't do that. Not right now." Is Mikey the Macaulay Culkin film? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Let me just see if I can. Have I got enough cable? Yes, I have. So that's Mikey. quite a nice little package actually. It's got the booklet in it and everything like that. It's Blu-ray and DVD. I can't remember who the lad is, but it's not a magnificent film by any means, but it is quite an interesting sort of ultra-violent version of Home Alone. It's Home Alone with consequences is probably the best way to put it. Oh dear. Yeah. There's been a few deaths just recently, hasn't there? I think Beast in Heat could possibly get through, albeit cut. I don't know. Only thing with the Beast in Heat is it does share some parallels with SS Experiment Camp in terms of the sexual violence, apart from anything else, and the sort of some kinky kind of aspects that both films have. Bearing in mind that SS Experiment Camp was banned on the grounds of sexual violence and kind of like eroticizing rape, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure it would get through. It's Brian Bosnell. Okay, thank you. It's been a while since I watched it, but yeah. Interesting thing with the film that I am working on soon is that the ending to it, Simon might actually kind of guess it from this. The ending to it, there was two different versions. There's one with an appended ending, or at least the original had a longer ending on this thing, and I supplied the English audio to the company for the closing scene, because the version that they originally had was, shall we say, it was the cut version, or at least the cut down version. SS Experiment Camps, uncut in the UK. Might be thinking Love Camp 7, Gestapo's Last Orgy. Yes, do excuse me. Yes, that's the one. SS Experiment Camp is indeed. I have it up there. It's me mixing up my Nazi exploitation. Oh dear. Yeah, that's such a bizarre film, SS Experiment Camp. It's just, oh my god. I mean, it's real kind of Ed Wood level kind of film, in terms of set construction and acting and all that kind of stuff. It's really weird. But it's like, if Ed Wood had decided to do a very, very, very nasty horror film. And, although a lot of those films, a lot of people would say, well, it's not that nasty. It kind of is in intent in some respects. Mad Fox's equals Nazi's best Nazi exploitation movie. Yeah, of a sort. It's kind of like that one in particular has the the generic bastard as a very much a kind of as the bad guys, and they just call them Nazis because they're easy to identify as people you should hate. Though it is rather odd that when you look at that film, that the bad guys don't seem any better than the good guys. I don't know. Maybe when it's Richard's birthday again or something like that, around that sort of time, we'll put Mad Foxes back on, something like that. Maybe that would be something to do. It's definitely a guilty pleasure, that one. I mean, it is bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's bad in a kind of fun way. SS Experiment Camp was filmed back to back on the same sets as SS Camp 5, Women's Hell, using the same cast. That's not surprising to me, but yeah. Very common with Italian filmmaking that they would make 2 or 3 films at the same time. Jess Franco was a big one for that. Bruno Mattei, whoever, yeah. The one with Dirk Bogarde was really pretty nasty. I haven't seen The Night Porter, and I've been meaning to watch it for years. I'm gonna have to get that. Be interesting to see. 24th of February. Okay. So what is that, near a weekend? Oh, it's a Thursday. Well, I'll tell you what. Remind me close to the time. We'll do that just for you, as you've been such a active member of the Rambleaholics, and you've liked tonight's film and all that kind of stuff. You're constantly suggesting films to watch, including films that we will never watch, like Calamity of Snakes, not unless I am incredibly drunk. There you go. I like Henry, but Rob Ager slagged it off in his Sonnets of the Lambs review. Really? Okay. Night Porter is a great film. I've heard things about it, yes. It is definitely one of those films that it's one of those holes. There's plenty of holes in my film viewing history, but there you go. It's very true. You don't have to agree with anyone's opinions all the time. It's often a case of just trying to be as respectful as possible. Obviously, there are some opinions that absolutely do not deserve any respect, but we shan't be getting into any of those tonight, shall we? Hopefully. I want this to be a nice, fun stream because, quite frankly, I'm absolutely shagged out after this week. So I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this one. SS Experiment Camp should have been called Carry On Up the Kaiser. Sure, yeah. Oh boy. I mean, there's plenty of critics that I don't agree with. I mean, the amount of times actually, Josh and I in particular disagree on certain things. I talk about he hates the film Salo. I mean, I've always said that Salo's not really a film that you sit down to enjoy. It's not that kind of film. It's a film that is really about kind of telling a very, very dark story. It's not meant to be fun. But he kind of looks at it and thinks it's some kind of porn. And I'm like, it's like anti-porn. And look at all the kind of hallmarks of what porn is and what Salo is and does. I wouldn't say it was even in the slightest bit kinky. It's like, nah. It's not even fucked up porn. It's just designed to be an ordeal, and that's how it is. Oh dear. Liebeslager. I don't know that one. Time was quite a big one for obscure films. I suspect, I can't remember if it was, but I think it was Simon that might have actually supplied me with the copy of the film that I'm about to do the extra for originally. So it would be kind of like thanks to him that I'm kind of able to do this thing. And of course, because I passed it on for the audio, so I'll have to have a word with. I'll figure it out, and if I think it was Simon that actually supplied that thing, then I will try to make sure that he gets some kind of credit on that. If not, he'll get credit in the section that I make. Night Porter, the reach around part was a bit awkward, but then I guess I should have just been concentrating off her. Wow. Did something happen in the UK that pissed Lampy off this week? No. Just life. I'm told I'm an angry person. I don't think I am. Fuck anybody who says that. Oh dear. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at this. I've got the film all kind of queued up, ready to go, into my Bruno Mattei again. Let's have a look and see a little bit about kind of like on IMDb and see what we can find. So I'm wondering if Fragrasso was involved in this. Okay. Well, they really? They're I'm just noticing they're crediting the writer as Peter Benchley, and I wonder if it's just because he ripped him off, or whether he is actually kind of like I know it's based on the novel, but yeah, Bruno Mattei, the screenplay. Not seeing anything massive on that one, but no, they're a little bit dry on information on that. Another quick look down the thing. Nope, it's going to be one of those we're just going to have to absolutely guess. Was a neighbour rude to you because you have different political beliefs? I don't talk to anyone. You know what? Funny enough, I am one of those kind of people that will, unless I've got really good reason to kind of like get defensive about somebody disagreeing with my opinion. I'm very much like, kind of, you have your opinion, it's fine. You're wrong, I'm right. In my head, anyway. I don't think I'll be shocked by how much they rip off, because it's Bruno Mattei and it's Italian exploitation cinema, so... Oh dear. Find his channel, just his name. I upload his feature films. They frankly only blow man his watch. Okay. Yeah. I picked up make a noise. Picked up Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex just recently. I've got a couple of the other Lego ones. It's the Marvel one area. They've got Batman 3 as well, which is kind of fun. Talking of Batman, actually, I was reading about some stuff on that, about some, shall we say, forgotten characters. Now, I don't know. I don't know how accurate this is, or whether they're actually genuine. As far as I can tell, they were, which is always the thing that makes me laugh. I've not heard of any equivalents in the Marvel universe. I'm sure there are one or two, but some of the characters, some of the kind of like sort of what you can look at and go, they lasted maybe a couple of issues or something like that. When you get the dark and gritty sort of stuff kind of thrown at you, you're just fed up because you just don't like DC because it's for grown-ups and that kind of stuff. It's like, no, I've always denied that anyway. But then you see some of these characters that DC had, and you go, they weren't really that dark and gritty, were they? I mean, there was, for instance, James Gunn's Suicide Squad did have a couple of those. Detachable parts kid, I think it was, in that, where he detaches his arms, they go around and start kind of slapping people and that kind of thing. That was a real character. It was a real DC character. So was the Weasel. That's his only power is his arms come off. Okay. I mean, you see the comic strip and stuff like that. It's just this guy kind of like, he'll detach an arm and start beating people to death with it. And then there's two others. Defenestration Man. For those who don't know what the word defenestration means, it's usually the act of being thrown through a window. So there's this superhero who smashes windows over bad guys' heads. That's his superpower, apparently. Oh my god. And the funniest thing is, there's another one who actually killed Defenestration Man. One called Friendly Fire Kid. He has like an energy beam. It's kind of like a Cyclops type character in some respects. But his only superpower beyond this energy beam is he absolutely cannot hit anything that he intends to hit. So he kills one of the other superheroes, Friendly Fire Guy. Wow. It's the defenestrator or defenestration man. Um, yeah, it's like wow. DC was on some real hard drugs, I think, back in the day. They really were, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful that these insane creations somehow slipped by the editors and managed to make it into print. It's just that is a wonderful thing, and I bless DC for doing that. But yeah, yeah, it's quite remarkable. Check them up though; they're not meant to be taken seriously. No, I don't think they are. But I think a lot of the characters, I mean, at various times, most of the characters weren't supposed to be taken seriously. It's probably the same with Marvel, and then they kind of like went through periods of kind of doing very serious stuff. You mean like a stormtrooper? Kind of. Oh dear! I mean, I cracked open the DVD actually, talking Star Wars, because I wanted to kind of rip it and then line it up with the riff that I've got of it, and it's that one. This is probably the 6th DVD that I own that for whatever reason just stopped working. Cannot play it. Cannot play it. Shall have to take it into work at some point and see if it works with my portal, but I've got 2 DVD Blu-ray players up there, and neither of them work with this thing. Which means either I've got to go out and buy it again. Fortunately, I can probably pick it up second hand for like a couple of quid, or I just consign it to the bin forever, which is not a massive crime for the Phantom Menace in my opinion. Ah, dear. Other Section 8 members include Dog Weld. Yes, that was another one. Six-pack his powers when he gets drunk. I don't know enough about the period of DC that those characters were released in to know why those characters were created. Whether or not it was a sort of self-conscious kind of like, let's make as many silly things as we can. Whether that was just the nature of that particular story, whatever. But it is like, good God, okay. Bueno Excelente, whose power is he's Mexican, can only say bueno. And oh my God. Oh dear. Yeah. It's like the Viz Comics version of DC. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, like I say, bless DC for doing that stuff, because quite frankly, I love it when you see those little moments in creativity where common sense goes completely out the window and just they do whatever the fuck they want to do for whatever reason. You often get that sort of thing where people argue that that's not what that character would do, and I've done that in on plenty of occasions. When talking about characters like Superman or Batman, particularly in relation to the Zack Snyder thing. I just found those in that iteration were entirely charmless. I don't think there was much to really kind of attract me to them. You sort of sit there wondering why they're superheroes, but there's something to be said for like kind of experimental with characters and kind of playing around with them. It sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Section 8 is an early creation of the guy who came up with The Preacher and The Boys. They were in a comic called Hitman, which is sort of The Boys but set in the actual DC universe. Really? Oh, well, thank you for that. That's interesting. I will. You know what? I'm going to make a little note of that, because I might want to. I'm gonna see if I can find that stuff and have a look, because that sounds absolutely wonderful. I'm definitely up for checking that out. Oh dear. And I think you're right, because I just had a quick look at one of the images and there's the defenestrators on there. But yeah, I think tomorrow night I'm actually watching the because I got Meg coming over. I said she's got to watch the Suicide Squad with me. She likes superhero films. I did say this one is really quite violent and gory on occasions, but she seemed up for it. Yeah. 8 used to crack me right up. Okay. Right, I'm going to get everybody just to sort of get yourselves kind of on the link. Let me just repost the link and we'll get everybody kind of in a position where you may start queuing yourselves up. We'll get going with that in just a few minutes, I think. Yeah. Like I said, I'm playing a bit of this just recently. It's it feels a bit odd. It's I mean, because I'm used to playing Crash Bandicoot in the PS1 versions, and this is like kind of somewhat higher res, for one thing. Feels a little bit odd. And there's a few sort of advancements that they made in it, which kind of threw me a little bit. Plus, I've never been a massive fan of like the vehicle sections and stuff in Crash. And the one thing that I wish they would have gotten rid of before then was all the kind of running at the camera stuff, because I hate those sections so much. It's like it's designed to make sure that you can't complete it first time around, because you've got to memorize the course apart from anything else. So yeah, but yeah, quite a way into Splinter Cell as well. Been enjoying my retro games lately. There is absolutely nothing in the AAA scene that I actually kind of want to get hold of these days. I keep seeing the Steam sales come and go, and it's just less and less that I'm actually interested in getting. Oh, you look at half the shit that's going on. You got Cyberpunk and the new Battlefield, and it's like none of them are good. They're all mostly broken. If it's from EA, it's broken, you know. I think the only one I've had any interest in playing is Far Cry 5, and I'm quite frankly not willing to give my money to Ubisoft. So, because unfortunately the people running are a bit cuntish. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I'm gonna have to see if the library's got a copy of this. I might just have to rip a copy from that. I don't want to have to buy it again. The only thing this film is good for is watching with riffing. It's kind of like the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is anything but special. It's quite something. Okay, so we've got a couple of people ready. Just yeah, if everybody's sort of ready to go, we will get going in about 5 minutes' time. I think it's probably best. So we'll say, actually, you know what? No, give us a thumbs up or say okay if you're all ready. We'll get started. I do appreciate Kerry does have to kind of shove off in a little while anyway to do whatever it is she's doing, watching a film with Lexi, I think it was. I hope it's particularly suitable. Excellent. All right, okay, let's do it. Brilliant. All right, on the count of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Crash cut straight into the action, clearly. Now, I'm assuming this is like the kind of later Claudio Fragrasso style, we're actually making this in America type thing going on, using actual actors from America. That's stock footage. I don't think they're even wearing the same colour um, wetsuits. I could be wrong. It's very murky. Should point out that a lot of these scenes are also from Get This, The Last Shark. Oh God. It's a very Italian thing to do, Kieran. Seems overly nervous, doesn't he? There's no mistake that the Italian film industry created the cannibal genre, then moved on to stuff like this. Really? Okay. You got to admire the economics of it, though, haven't you? That didn't seem very wise. Mattei goes full on Batzilla with this movie. Batzilla's one of those directors that, uh, doesn't get as much attention as the Matteis of the world. And it is one of those things with Bruno's films. I've always felt he's a lot more hacky than many of the other directors in his position. Yeah, so I've heard that as well. I don't think he's ever really kind of admitted any particular responsibility for it. I mean, certainly the directors and producers of that particular film, well, TV special, said he was well informed of what was going on. It's a very comprehensive rip-off, isn't it, Simon? You know what? I've never really looked at his works particularly. The various, a couple of the films I've covered along the way, but I've never looked at his work as an overall kind of thing. Well, ooh, they ran out of air quick. Maybe they were nervous. You've made it your mission to track down any Batzilla film you can find. You know what? It can be fun to do that. If I would love to be one of the only people in the world that had every Jess Franco film. But that's not going to happen because so many of them are, permanently lost. Simon is a fountain of knowledge. Been studying this stuff for long enough, researching into it. So I've always given Simon a lot of credit for kind of what I do. There's a reason why he's got a thank you on the Nastiest Review finale, because I found a lot of his stuff very, very helpful. Plus him himself, so, top guy. Kind of tricky, even with Batzella. There's a film or two on IMDb's of his that literally have no reviews or ratings. Yeah, they're often will be kind of just straight up missing. With Jess Franco's stuff, the biggest thing is it many of his films are kind of mistaken for others of his and that kind of stuff. You know, because there's so many alternate names and things like that. So it's very hard with his work to kind of pin it down to exactly how much he did do. Some of it is lost without any kind of knowledge, you know, until you'll never get to see any of that stuff. It is Hulk Hogan, isn't it? It's very touching. Are we sure Fragrasso didn't do any writing on this? Oh, it is Perry Perkinen. I assume. Let's check this out. Is it Perry Perkinen? No, I don't think it is. It does look like Hulk Hogan though, doesn't it? Is that the character's name? Dag Snerenson. That's a hell of a name. This guy's Richard Dew. 2 credits on that? Oh, like, oh, that's weird. Oh no, it's yeah, it's his only acting part. Some stellar acting going on here, isn't there, from some of them? He's his line delivery's not bad, but he's a little too enthusiastic. I'm going to deliver my lines and make it sound like they are lines. Although we don't seem to be at Fragrasso levels of bad dialogue. To be honest, Simon, it could have been either one of them. Oh, that's some pretty decent gore. Yes, I need you to glance over this dead body that's been floating in the water for God knows how long, been washed up, probably been eaten by crabs, and I need you to identify the cause of death immediately just by looking at it. And to be honest, that doesn't look like shark attack sort of stuff, does it, particularly? Being very solemn about putting on the vapor rub, aren't they? In my opinion, he is dead, yes. Okay. It's like, yeah, even the biggest propeller couldn't damage a body. It must have been a shark, because only a shark can damage a body to that kind of degree. I might have a little problem with the writing on this one. Oh, discount Brody, clearly. Wow, I mean, this is sort of heavyweight lifting that you would expect to see Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of in his prime days, maybe doing a little bit of. Richard says he can't close our island. It is shameless so far, isn't it, to say the least? Oh, tits. Mattei has a really weird kind of sense for how lines should be delivered. Now, I appreciate it's a second language kind of thing, but it's like, wow. You are. Rich says hubba hubba. You are almost expecting kind of comic sound effects of like, like kind of boing kind of thing goes on as the lads look over at the girls. Dick Brain, ladies and gentlemen. Dick Brain. This movie is strangely complicated with the character relations, so many needless subplots. Yeah. I guess to some extent, Kieran, the fact that they're actually kind of trying to put sort of subplots in there, kind of character development, that sort of thing, is a little bit of saving grace. You don't tend to get too much of that in the Mattei films. Go through the cast list for most of the actors. This is their only credit. No shit. They seem to have been in two or three other films. I think that's very similar with a lot of his films, though. Um, I think he tends to pick up kind of local talent that's nice and cheap and that kind of stuff. And I suspect, they probably started filming in America because it was probably a cheaper way of doing it. You don't have to worry so much about ADR and all that kind of stuff. And the ultimate aim of a lot of this stuff was always to try to emulate American films anyway. Oh, are we going into porno holocaust? Clearly feels the overwhelming urge to get wet before she gets to sleep with him. Wait for the iconic jaw shots. Well, of course they're going to have to be there. See, that's the thing. When Steven Spielberg did a lot of that stuff. It was to cover up the fact that the model Bruce was not working. There would have been a lot more shots of the shark and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of that mystery was created to kind of fill in the gaps. But unfortunately for Spielberg, it made it a hell of a lot easier to rip off, I guess, because the workaround worked so goddamn well. Better than if they'd had a model. But it was like the cheapest and easiest way to do it as well, so everybody can do it. He's got some pretty good stock footage in this, though. I'll give him that much. They should have ripped the swimming scene from Anthropophagus just for rip-off's sake, yeah. I always remember what a mystery that film was to me at the age I was when it came out. And seeing all those boxes and stuff, and you weren't allowed to watch them. I think most of the shooting time, the production time was probably them down at the archives. It's probably quite dangerous to do that, though, isn't it? In the water and all. Oh, look, he's waving. Oh, oh. Day for night. So few of these day for night shots ever work. So rent a little lighting kit for the love of God. Blue filtered mid-afternoon, yes. See, I'd be so tempted just to be an arsehole if I was remastering something like this, just to kind of colour correct everything. Danzig? Man, this film's so awful I could be watching Fernando De Leo movie, but no, Jaws 5 it is, yes. Do we get to see these guys eaten by sharks later on? They have to be. They have to be kind of like put up for that sort of thing, surely. Because I don't think they're going to turn out to be the heroes, are they? I could be surprised. Why? Why are these guys doing this? That is one hell of a chin, isn't it? Bet those three smashed up the Blue Peter Garden in the 80s. They're the kind of guys that would, wouldn't they? Apparently. Trout. Those maniacs. Perhaps he, I don't know, maybe he struggles to sex a dolphin. It's very hard to tell the difference. Would it be a bad point in the film to actually kind of point out that dolphins can be quite rapey? Right back. More beer. More beer. Cool. Hell of a soundtrack. It's like somebody heard the art of noise and kind of like tried to copy them, isn't it? Very badly. Blue Peter was basically like Richard says, a kids' TV series, and they would do a little bit of arts and crafts, a little bit of kind of talking about activities and things like that, and little reports on things of interest to a young audience. It used to be recorded live as well, so they'd have like on-set catastrophes on occasions. I should say it was broadcast live. There's always a famous incident where they had an elephant, like a baby elephant, brought into the studio, and it was shitting and pissing everywhere and kind of standing on people's feet. And because it said to the keeper or something like the handler, yeah, no, you can't hit it on screen, because it had a cane to kind of like, persuade the elephant to go where it and do what it needed to do. But they were like, kind of, yeah, you can't do that. So the elephant sort of just did what it wanted to do. The keeper couldn't do anything with it. Blue Peter was particularly famous for kind of they would have these little arts and crafts projects. So you using toilet rolls, build things, that kind of stuff. Models. Good boys, man, dolphins, brother. That's a strange threat. Oh, comedy shenanigans. Bottle top collections for church roof repairs. Yeah, things like that, yeah, they were quite eclectic. It's an icon in British TV. You're already missing the budget Sean Penn from the last shark. I don't know. That may very well obsess his ass. Yeah. There's a lot of that, isn't there? It's like wah, wah, wah. He's making a lot of conclusions from a couple of attacks, isn't he? That was quite a cut. Shark. Knots. Oh, sexy time. Oh, really? Okay. It's a bit of an institution, isn't it? So, Dean Martin as the police chief. Yes. He's got a bit of the Patrick Duffy about him as well, hasn't he? Just, pardon my nakedness, Sheriff. Well, you know how it is, Kieran. All the girls love a big brain. Nothing says 80s like a wicker sofa. Yeah, it does look. You had about 50 lashes if you sit down on one in shorts. Hold on, subplot 15. I'll be right out there. You'll be fine. God, just interrupt us. Well, darling, it's because they can't consume a wheelchair. They're a little too chewy. The man from Amity, Atlantis. Let's be fair. I mean, even the Jaws sequels were kind of probably no more original than these are. I would have no idea, Adam. Possibly. Probably worth more than Jim will fix it badges. Well, the medals. It has to be said the shark stuff is very much in the background of this particular film, isn't it? I mean, to an extent, it was with even with Jaws. I mean, Jaws, when you look at it, the shark thing is kind of like what the interesting thing in Jaws is less the shark attacks than it is the interaction between the characters and all that kind of stuff. But this sort of takes it to the next level, doesn't it? Really. Come on, dance like white people. No, I don't mean it quite in that way. It's just it's like this sort of thing is happening somewhere else in the film, very much so. Uh, the problem, the difference between this and the original Jaws in terms of kind of like how the story sort of structure works is there's just two very very different threads going on really. Um, with Jaws, all the stuff that's happening between the people when you're seeing them and you're not with the shark is usually related to what's going on, the whole situation and the antagonism that sort of is caused by that. There's very little of it in this. A lot of this is just kind of like these relationship things that are going on, which is a little odd. Jaws 3 was poor, yes, it was pretty poor. Especially when you have to watch it in 2D. It's like the one thing it had going. There was some comedy show they were opening up a time capsule from the 70s. It contained a Jim Will Fix It badge, a Rolf Harris style, and a Gary Glitter album, and It's a Knockout album. Oh, God. Fair enough. More day for night. There's an awful lot of sexy time going on this beach. I'd be worried about some kind of pollution. He needs to be told to take his shoes off to go into the water. I don't imagine it does. It is a real good classic example of why 3D is awful. I mean, it is a very heightened version of that, but I'm wondering if Borchinian's going to get eaten here. Be an ironic end for the shark, wouldn't it, if it choked on his chin? Oh boy. Oh, I didn't get his full of dickhead. I've always liked Michael Caine's response to people who ask him about Jaws 4. It's like kind of. It was the year I think he was nominated, won an Oscar, but he was filming Jaws 4 and had to kind of go do. He had to sort of video an acceptance speech. And people sort of asked him about that kind of stuff. He says, I got an Oscar and I also got paid a lot of money to do that thing, so he got a really posh house out of it. Hill Street Blues, this is not. No, it is not. That's it, yeah. And so, yeah, fair play. Which does make me wonder, though. You know, you get these actors in a film, and then they just never watch the film. You think out of curiosity they would, but yeah, that might just be him sort of going. Um, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it that much. Oh, snack time. There is a film called Jaws of the Corn. It's terrible. It sounds terrible. It's like Land Shark and all that kind of stuff as well, isn't there? It's these sort of asylum type movies. I fully agree with Michael Caine on that. And, you know, I've always had respect for actors that just go, yeah, I'm having a work. And I think the same with a lot of directors as well. You know, there's so many of the Italian film directors were, putting food on the table on the roof over their head, probably including Bruno Mattei. So that's the shark. He looks guilty. Isn't there a film called Gums? Probably. It's no surprise he's missing because he's shooting at stock footage. It's notoriously hard to kill stock footage. It's a hell of an assumption, is it? Oh, I think we're going to see the shark. What ho? Sorry, Iris. I measured it by visual inspection from at least 10 metres away. I completely and utterly am convinced that it was not the shark. So I cut it open, find some fish in there, go, cod, the bastard. Not Ramon the Cuban. He's like the Not Amity Island version of the Mancunian. Definitely shark, smells like fish in there. I have to give the film its due. It's not really quite Sharknado levels of absurdity yet, so... Confederate battle flag sighting. Well, I guess that makes this one of those films that you just couldn't make today. I'm wondering if the jocks get killed in this. I mean, that could be quite satisfying, but I think it also should be the end of the shark in that, the shark chokes on his chin. This is the irony. Imagine the shark just got killed by Jaw. Why do I keep looking at this guy? I'm just thinking that like later on he'll see somebody getting attacked by the shark and he'll just be going like, it's eating them and then it's going to eat me. Oh my god. Please do that movie. Did she just imply that he has a huge erection? Yeah, a definite whiff of Troll 2 about him there is, isn't there? He's a little angry, isn't he, this fella? It's a little bit of an overreaction. Ooh, foreshadowing. Oh, wow. I never thought I'd see the day where I hear the Jaws theme played on a Bon Tempi keyboard. I guess I can die now. Oh, 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 exciting music kicks in. Oh, are they ripping off Yellow? Yeah, they're ripping off Yellow, the race. Yellow is a band from mostly known in the late 80s, early 90s. And they did a few numbers that got. The big one was a track called Oh Yeah that was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and a few other films. I've got several of their albums up there. If you want to check their stuff out, check out the album The Race is probably one of the best ones they did. Oh no. Where's Batman with his bat repellent spray? Well, they all made it out of the water. The only one that didn't actually get back was the Kiltner boy. Oh, that was a plastic looking shark. I love how they're all pushing each other off the pier. Oh my god. The shark is just everywhere, isn't it? Quick, child. Swim, swim. Kick your legs as hard as you possibly. Oh, sorry. Wait. She just lifted her legs. What the hell? Yes, they did. You know, for all this film's faults, it's not gone quite as far as Jaws 4 did. Jaws the Revenge was to explain why it was that the shark would go all the way from Amity Island to the Caribbean. They had to explain why the shark would actually travel that far because it's a huge distance. So they claim that there was a voodoo curse or something like that Brody had placed upon him and all that kind of stuff. They haven't gone quite that far with this yet, so it's still actually, narratively better than Jaws 4. She's survived. She'll have a walk again. I know a man. He's called Flint. Thank you for reminding us of that. Jaws 4 jumped the shark plot wise very much. So. It was pretty awful. Apparently, it was part of the original screenplay, and then they kind of dropped it, but it's actually in the novelisation. Well, thank God that we know which we now know all the fins of the shark. That will really, really help us. It's homicidal. If you can't hit those really, really crucial parts, don't bother firing at all. I'd like to see the can it comes in if it was a sardine. It's the only canned fish in the supermarket that you need a pallet truck to actually pull out the shop. When did the mafia get involved? Now you need some insurance, you know. I mean, it's a lovely village you've got here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. I think when it's probably a little unfair there, Michael. There is something about, particularly Bruno Mattei's stuff, and more so when Fragrasso was involved. That there's just a weird kind of tempo to how the story kind of goes, and the way that the lines are delivered. They're all very kind of just ever so slightly sort of exaggerated. Not to the point that you kind of like go, they're really making a parody, but it's heightened just enough so it's just below that level of parody, and the storyline is gets kind of distracted and hysterical. Everything's kind of like just blown out of all proportion. So a lot of stuff seems more like it's supposed to be more important than it is. So then, when everything's important, nothing's important. It's just a very strange kind of feel to, particularly this era and onwards of Bruno Mattei. I'm standing by for it, Kieran. Oh well, she seems to be all right now. Oh, hello. There's a bit of Star Wars in there, really? Feels like a hint of vaudeville in Bruno Mattei movies. But yeah, there's one way of describing it. It's almost like they're so enthusiastic about kind of like everything that everything is just kind of like amped up. Oh, this is important. This is important. That's important. That's important. Like in this film, probably about 50% of it isn't that important. I am wondering what the chances of Hulk Hogan's survival here is. I love how they couldn't actually force that hook through the meat, so he's having to hold it on there. Can I not sit on your knee right close to the water like this? It's kind of triggering my PTSD. See, the last time I sat in this sort of position, I fell in and was nearly eaten by a shark. Then I watched my mother get bitten in half. Oh, another random shark. How much good do you think a shotgun's going to do by firing into water? It's bad enough for a regular bullet. I'm not convinced he's actually firing live rounds. Quick shoot, Ned. He's coming right at us. I can't. He's so beautiful. Am I supposed to be concerned about this guy? I mean, oh no. Oh, that's a hell of a line. Probably some fool hunting the shark with depth charges. I might need a moment just to process that line. God. Oh, well, that was a quick check, wasn't it? But yeah, the girl with the petrol can, like, just, I'll just pour this over ourselves instead of actually throwing it. Considering that shark was shot at with like a pump action shotgun, I don't think a flare gun was going to do a fuck ton. I know, Iris. It's like the reverse of bloody fish fingers, isn't it? Like, it's like if Captain Birdseye got his priorities all wrong. That sounds like a good idea. I have to go below to just check the rudder. It's my job. I'm the helmsman. Plus, the audience doesn't know me as well. Therefore, I am more disposable. Oh, he's going down now. Okay. Didn't realise we were in that particular wing of Italian cinema. Expendable Man, you came back. Phew. Don't think the audience will like it though. Back. Can you believe that's still half an hour left? Oh, I know, I'm just on the edge of my seat. I don't know if I can hang on to the edge of my seat for another half hour. My buttocks are getting tired. They did have enough budget to actually have a helicopter, though. Can you guys guess the two shark movies this scene's lifting from? Enlighten us. I'm too engrossed to do any Googling. I think it's that Batman episode where they had the shark and the shark repellent spray. I tell you what, the one winner in this entire film is probably the butcher. They're making a killing on just big joints of beef. Oh, that looks sensible. We're just going to try fishing for a whopping great shark with a helicopter. We need a bigger helicopter. Really? You might get away with one of those sodding great big Russian cargo lifter type ones, but Batman had a much better budget. What were they thinking? It's a helicopter. They're notoriously kind of bad at actually staying in the fucking air. Just in general, let alone when you got a whopping great big lump of fish on the goddamn hanging off the thing. Cut the line. Yeah, yeah. Let's just cut that steel wire cable. Because, you know, I mean, they're easy. Just get your penknife out. It's not a problem. We got a fish. We need to kill the fish. How hard is it to whack a fish? What the fuck is this scene? This fish is showing us no respect. Here's Johnny the Shark Killer. And Tuna Boy. It's the Mafia, yeah. You're damn well grounded, girl. Oh God, I think I'll just lay here and look sexy. I have no idea why this mafia boss thing is going on. Yeah. Oh, Iris, yeah, that's bang on. Was it really? That means Peter Benchley's got a lot to answer for. Well, I guess that depends to some degree on how you feel about voodoo. Oh, this is so weird. I don't know why it is, but I've got Richard Pryor's skit basically about when he did his live performances. He talked about the mafia and he's going, "Hey Tony, the fucking kid," kind of thing. I just whenever I see those guys, haven't seen Bruno 2 in ages. Is that the James Cameron one? Yes, I believe that is the case. Yeah. Oh, that would be quite fun to do. If we were to do another double bill some point soon, Piranha 1 and 2 would be kind of fun. Okay. Sounds like the engine for a truck. I will give him his due. There's some pretty kind of cool underwater um, stuff there. I don't know if all of that's stock footage. Don't get eaten by the shark. Don't come back as shark poop. Does that mean it's a veteran? You can't criticise it. Tony! Wow, he's gonna. Wow, flailing with that shotgun much? See, the only good thing about Jaws 4 was people got paid for it. Oh, Star Wars again. But it's kind of a combination between Star Wars and what seems to be Spaceballs as well. So, did the shark eat the entire boat? Well, it was a little bit peckish. In an aquarium far, far away, yes. See, what we need at this point is a zombie to fight the shark. Sounds like a mashup of Star Wars and Superman. You're probably right, actually. Ooh, false alarm, folks. I'm not sure if it's a Jacques Cousteau movie or if we're still in Italian exploitation area. The Extras on the Severin Blue has an interview with one of the actors. I wonder how they reacted to watching this for the first time. They probably claimed they didn't watch it. Although in this case, I doubt they were paid very much. Now, I don't know much about explosives, but would dynamite really be very good for underwater? Now, that is a cheap-ass prop. Very carefully, Simon, very carefully. No, it's true to say that, those fuses, you can actually light them underwater. I believe they supply their own oxygen, at least certain varieties of it does. But even so, it's like sticks of dynamite. I don't think would react terribly well underwater. Oh, Westworld's on, is it? Okay. Acme TNT Shark Explosive. It is a bit on the Batman's kind of end of the scale, isn't it? Grimace, you son of a bitch. They have to change it a little bit, you see. One thing I've never ascertained is quite how seriously Bruno Mattei actually kind of thinks he takes these kind of movies that he makes. I'd like to think that he's very kind of tongue-in-cheek about that kind of stuff, or at least was. Maybe I've just watched too much Mythbusters, but they're all pointing these shotguns at the water, and as far as I understand it, if you were to do that, they would be less than lethal in within 3 feet under the water. I have to say, with the whole kind of Jaws 3 thing, at least they're not doing all this kind of woo kind of thing. I would hope so, Richard. Fragrasso seems to be a lot more kind of like into his own work than anybody else seems to be. Oh, bends. Oh, God. Simply, does the tension music seem to be slightly out of place in some respects? Oh, okay. Was that it? Is Mythbusters that stupid ITV3 show where that same bloke goes to some... no. No. Mythbusters is in Adam Savage and Jamie Hyneman. Unless you're being sarcastic and I'm being stupid. There's always a possibility. Well, that was underwhelming. Okay. Oh, comedy ending. And no one ever got the check. Well, the mafiosos got eaten, didn't they? Apparently sharks like Italian food. Oh, hang on. It's not over yet, folks. Oh no, it is. Well... Oh, well, that was special. For a Bruno Mattei film, I that was quite entertaining. Bad as hell. I mean, my God. I mean, what an ending. It's funny. It's like the ending is the hardest bit to remember, and it's only just gone. What the hell? Wow, that was quite something. Guess it's up to us to make Cruel Jaws 2. I imagine it probably is. I think considering the amount of pinched material within that particular film, that would be very hard to make. Although a little ironic if you start to pinch in footage and stuff from that film. Okay, folks. That was fun. Thank you, Richard. And bad. Thank you, Richard. We'll do a much better job, Kieran, given the budget. Yeah. Dear, oh dear. God, there's so many of these things as well. Can you imagine if we had a marathon of just Jaws rip-offs? I mean, they're still continuing to, even to this day. I mean, you've got like the Asylum stuff, which, you know, takes it and kind of like just goes a million miles beyond the line. But Yeah, even the people who were making Jaws did not get it right. The second one was I don't remember too much of the second one. I've got to watch it again at some point. That, as far as I can remember, it kind of took it way beyond the line as it was. So this is the people who were who made Jaws, making more Jaws and screwing it up. And then, of course, you've got all of these various kind of rip-offs and that sort of stuff. But, hey, what are you going to do? At least Chin Guy kind of got his comeuppance. Linda Hamilton worked on this. Did she really? Hang on. You know what we said about Perry Perkinen? Apparently he was in this somewhere. I'm just looking through IMDb for Linda Hamilton. I am not seeing. So Linda Mitchell. No, not seeing it. Had a quick look, but what the hell. Devil's Wedding night next week. Really? Okay. Have fun at that. Like always, drop any suggestions on the Rambleholics. Next week, we'll be at Casa Gaza. Going to visit my brother and the family. So there will be no stream next week, but I'm sure we can pack one in the weekend after that. Calamity of Snakes, what is that? It's bad. For many reasons, and I do mean genuinely bad. There you go. I did watch it. It was quite something, and I don't mean necessarily in a fun way either. There's a lot of animal cruelty in that kind of, to the extent that it makes Cannibal Holocaust look like a walk in the park, particularly if you have any liking for snakes. So 2 weeks time. Yeah, next week I'm, like I say, going to be up visiting my brother, and after that we'll have a look at doing something, have a think about something special, I think, for that one. So thank you very much for joining. It's been a interesting one. Actually, I have to say I really quite enjoyed that, Richard, so well done. Despite the fact that it is a demonstrably terrible movie, it just tickled my bad movie vibes. Glenn's never going to agree. But feel free to watch it if you want. I would never say don't watch it, but it's. I'll just sit here going, shit, that's kind of cruel. But okay. Take care, folks. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Try and relax. Drink some beers if that's your poison. Eat well. Be with your friends. It's been a lovely evening. So I will say good night and take care. See you in 2 weeks' time.